I saw a commercial last night that really caught my eye by a large landscaping company in the Austin area, ABC. They must be the largest landscaping company around, so they do a lot of lawn care, yard care, home projects, things like that. And they were doing something in this advertisement that is a common tactic by market leaders that is not readily noticeable, but is interesting nonetheless. So market leader meaning they own by far the largest share of the yard business in the Austin area. And that's a highly fragmented business because, most people mowing lawns and things like that are very small companies or even independent, solopreneurs who just have a lawnmower and go out there and mow. But ABC, they have a lot of the market share, and what they were selling, which was interesting in their commercial, was a Christmas light hanging program. And now that seems kind of silly, but bear with me for a second. So a few years ago in the Austin area, you would see people with, advertisements basically on signs saying, hanging Christmas lights, $200 or $300 or whatever it is. And the way this would work is they would the first year go and buy your lights for you, and then they would hang them up, and then they would take them down and store them for you, so you wouldn't have to do anything. And from their perspective, it's something where they charge a fee to buy the lights up front. Presumably what also happens is people who don't renew their service, those lights get used in future years, lowering costs. And it's just a one-stop shop service that a lot of people use. Okay, so what's interesting that ABC is using it now? Well, it's a common market leader strategy to innovate right after something is proven effective by lower market share participants. So in the rule of three, that there's going to be three main participants in a competitive market. Usually the third place is the most innovative of the three because they have to be. Now, in lawn care, obviously there's much more than three, although there probably are three big ones, if I were to look into it. But in this case, a lot of the innovation is coming way downstream from the market leader. And in this case, little one-man and two-man shows are doing the innovation of this Christmas lights and how to do it. And then ABC sits back and they say, well, okay, this has worked and people have been doing it for 3 years now. It seems a very popular service. So they double down on it and they start including it in their mass marketing campaigns. So why do they do that? Why don't they innovate, and why didn't they think of that in the first place? Well, what it allows them to do is to spend a lot less on R&D, which in their world would be trying new services and seeing if they're popular. They can go ahead and wait to see if the service is popular in general and if other people are doing it and being successful at it before they dive in. And then because of their economies of scale, they have marketing dollars that they're spending anyway, and they just go ahead and do that. And if you're doing your Christmas lights through ABC and that's the only thing that you do through them, well, then they've got their hooks in you to at least market their normal core lawn care services so it can expand their market as well. So it's a brilliant way that market leaders can, through their scale and through their marketing dollars, build in new services that fit right into what they're doing and just expand their market. Now, if you are not the market leader, if you're the specialist who came up with it, obviously that sucks. And what can you do? Well, normally when you are developing a new product, you want to see if there's some barrier to entry you can create. So an easy example would be a patent, but there's nothing to patent here. And really there's nothing to do here in terms of protecting it from, a future market competitor. So when you are, engaged in a startup or when you're engaged in a small business and you're looking to add a new strategy, you kind of need to think 2 steps ahead about if it is successful, can you or how would you potentially protect that and create a barrier to entry for other businesses to just do the same thing. So that's an important part of innovation. Is it's often not the innovator who's the one who ultimately benefits. It's often the market leader. So another example would be light beer. Miller came out with light beer first. Tastes great, less filling, that whole thing. Well, Budweiser didn't come out with Bud Light right away. In fact, it took them a few years to see, it works. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and jump into that. And that's something where then they use their massive advertising dollars. You'll recall all the Super Bowl commercials and all of that. And now Bud Light is the market leader in light beer. So nothing Miller could have really done. And frankly, Miller, they're still doing really well with their Miller Lite sales. Trust me. So don't cry for them. But it just shows you the advantage of the market leader and how they don't have to innovate. They don't have to spend the R&D dollars until they know something's going to work. And they can live off the innovation of people downstream from them. So interesting concept about the innovation of a market leader and how they really don't need to or want to innovate. They want to look downstream and kind of see what's popular, at the expense of their smaller competitors.